Politics to weather updates, community stories, and breaking news. Hot 7 TV keeps you informed with news every hour on the hour. Don't wait to hear it secondhand. Stay ahead, stay informed with Hot 7 TV St. Lucia. News notes on the hour. Stay updated wherever you are. Catch Hot 7 TV St. Lucia's news every hour on the air, on our mobile app, and on our website.
To sing it out every other Wednesday, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Bring the energy to the ultimate blast karaoke night. Shower singer or stage legend. If you've got a voice, the mic is yours. And the vibes stay high. From old school classics to today's biggest hits. Step up, sing loud, sip on drink specials, enjoy tasty eats, and win big with Bingo. Blast Entertainment Center, corner of Chisel and Brazil Street. Upstairs, the new Starlight Building. So warm up those vocals, grab the mic. Blast Karaoke Night. Big notes, bigger wins.
Get ready for another evening of spectacular performances at Blast Karaoke Night on Wednesday, 12th August 2026.
Good day, it is Monday, August 10th, 2026. I am Daniela Edwin. Welcome to the Midday News Edition. Whether you are tuned in on Flow Channel 117, Kiss FM, Hot FM, the Caribbean Hot FM mobile app, the Caribbean Hot 7 TV Facebook page, or our YouTube channel, Caribbean Hot 7 TV. Not forgetting those of you using the Hot 7 plug and play antenna. Thank you for joining us. St. Lucia has recorded another homicide for 2026. The incident occurred around 11:30 p.m. on Friday, August 8th in Miku. Police have identified the victim as a 29-year-old man from Miku. He was allegedly attacked and struck repeatedly with a glass bottle and died at the scene. The suspect has been named as Curtis Plummer alias Bolo, a man in his late 40s who is listed as an outpatient of the National Mental Wellness Center. Police say an investigation is ongoing. Meanwhile, we have received unconfirmed reports of another death. The young woman identified as Tanisha, who was pushed onto the roadway on the night of August 2nd in Watney Bay and was struck by a branded vehicle, died in hospital on Sunday night. It is alleged that the incident involved a man she was known to be involved with and another female who was present at the time. According to reports, both individuals have reportedly been detained by police. It is not yet clear how the case will be classified. Tune in to our nightly news broadcast at 6:45 for further details on both stories. In other news, opposition Senator Elisha Norbert says the Prime Minister should address concerns surrounding a police investigation involving a government minister while allowing the legal process to take its course. He said the call is not for the Prime Minister to decide guilt or innocence, but to follow established practices in handling such matters.
A police investigation involving a government minister has sparked questions about his position in government and the response of the Prime Minister. While urging the public not to prejudge the outcome of the investigation, the opposition argues that the Prime Minister should publicly address the allegations. Opposition Senator Elisha Norbert says the Prime Minister's silence has fueled concerns about accountability and leadership. He said they are not asking the Prime Minister to determine whether the minister is guilty or innocent. Instead, they want him to follow the precedent that has already been established in similar situations.
I do not think that the UWP, I will speak on their behalf, wants the Prime Minister to say whether the minister is guilty or innocent of any crime. I think the organization is simply asking the Prime Minister to follow the precedents that has already been set in previous matters. And in St. Lucia, a lot has to do with precedents and not necessarily law. So if the precedent is that if an allegation comes up, the individual is asked to resign, then that's what they're alluding to.
Norbert said the situation requires a careful balance between accountability and compassion, declaring that justice and mercy are close.
Justice and mercy are not enemies. We believe that there can be justice and there can be mercy. Wrongdoings must be confronted, but no nation should celebrate the collapse of one of its leaders. Every fallen soldier, every fallen leader is a reminder that our nation is suffering. Families are suffering, and our democracy is wounded.
The opposition also argues that the focus should extend beyond the government minister as an individual. It says the systems surrounding public accountability, investigations, and political leadership must also be examined.
We must examine the system that repeatedly produces failures in our country. We must not act as if corruption is merely the failure of individuals, because systems either restrain these individuals, restrain their human weakness, or the system can enable it.
The government minister has not been charged, and the allegations against him remain unproven while he is currently on vacation. Police are continuing their investigation to determine whether there is sufficient evidence to warrant further action. As the process unfolds, the opposition maintains that justice must be allowed to take its course while upholding the principles of fairness, restraint, and due process. I'm Christabel Obi reporting for Hot 7 TV News.
From questions of governance to questions of delivery, the focus is shifting to long-running national projects. The opposition is calling for an end to political interference in major national projects, alleging that political division and weak oversight have contributed to the prolonged reconstruction of St. Jude Hospital. It argues that successive administrations must accept responsibility for the delays, as well as the growing public frustration over the slow pace of work and the continued uncertainty surrounding the hospital's completion.
Years after the fire that forced St. Jude Hospital out of its original building, its reconstruction remains one of St. Lucia's most controversial capital projects. Opposition Senator Elisha Norbert says both the St. Lucia Labour Party and the United Workers' Party have had opportunities to complete the hospital. He says he was shocked by the St. Lucia Labour Party's attempt to place blame solely on the United Workers' Party, arguing that successive governments changed plans and criticized the work undertaken by their predecessors. According to Norbert, this contributed to additional spending, delays, and prolonged uncertainty.
Stevenson King and the St. Lucia Labour Party, they've spent nearly 12 years trying to build this hospital. And Alan Shastney has spent, I would say, 5 years trying to build this hospital. That's close to 20 years, and we do not have a hospital. SLP comes in, they stop a project because they do not agree with the design, or in many occasions, they do not agree with who the contractors are. So their friends may not be making the money. So SLP will fire the UWP contractors. Because you have to understand that the Speaker of the House, he did mention kickbacks in an interview that he had recently, where some ministers depend on these kickbacks. So if their friends do not have the contracts, it cuts on the amount of money they can make. So one, they may not agree with the design, and two, they don't agree with the contractors. But all of these are used as part of the political games.
Norbert describes the handling of the St. Jude Hospital project as political ping-pong, with successive administrations allegedly changing or redesigning work already undertaken. He says young St. Lucians should reflect on the time and money invested without delivering a completed facility, while advocating for a bipartisan approach to major capital projects. Under his proposal, government and opposition representatives would meet with project managers, engineers, and contractors before key decisions are made to ensure continuity across administrations and limit politically driven changes.
What we young people have to insist is that for all these major capital projects, both parties must come to one table. The model must be presented at the center of this table, and we all agree. Contractors, engineers, all stakeholders, political leaders of both parties, and independents, with senators and other parliamentarians, the Speaker of the House, the President of the Senate, the Governor General, all stakeholders involved, gather around the table. Let's discuss the model for this project. St. Lucia will only move forward when we start working together.
The opposition senator is calling for stronger parliamentary scrutiny of public projects and institutions, arguing that elections alone do not guarantee accountability. He says parliamentary committees must be empowered to examine spending, construction decisions, and the management of public resources, while raising concerns about statutory bodies that allegedly fail to submit required reports for years without consequence.
That's why parliamentary committees are very important. If there is no accountability in a country, there is no democracy in that country. It is not general elections that makes a country democratic. It's accountability, a strong parliament, parliamentary oversight. St. Lucia should have a crime committee by now. St. Lucia should have a special committee investigating St. Jude's Hospital.
Elijah Norbert says that serious penalties should apply when those entrusted with national affairs fail to meet their reporting and accountability obligations. As work on St. Jude Hospital continues, the opposition says St. Lucia must replace partisan decision-making with cooperation, transparency, and stronger parliamentary oversight. I'm Christabel Obi reporting for Hot 7 TV News.
Turning now to cannabis reform, legislation that's been in the works for a while now is also drawing concern over delays. ICOP President Aaron Alexander says cannabis reform legislation has taken longer than expected. He said the matter has been under discussion for some time and needs to be addressed.
President of Ayanola Council for Advancement of Rastafarian Pan-African People, ICA, Aaron Alexander, said cannabis reform legislation had taken longer than expected. Speaking during an interview with Hot 7 News, Alexander said that the issue had been under discussion for some time and needed to be addressed.
The world knows the Rastafari community have been on that struggle and engaged in this struggle for the legalization of cannabis for well over 5 decades now. And from government to government here in St. Lucia, we have seen a change in posture in terms of them being more open to the legalization of cannabis and to have a legalized and regulated cannabis industry in St. Lucia. And we believe by now, after 5 years in office by the St. Lucia Labour Party, we believe by now this process should have been completed, because the process was at an advanced stage when the Labour Party came into power. So we were really hoping that by now this would have been done. So it all adds to the frustration of our members and our people who are involved in the illegal cannabis trade as it is right now.
He stated that while some aspects has been decriminalized, members of the community were still being stopped and harassed by police officers.
The vast majority of our members are still facing police harassment, brutalization, victimization, burning of plantation, burning of the sheds that they find on the plantation. So the police still continue on that rampage of destroying cannabis still. So we have been calling for at least an amnesty to be implemented, because as part of the cannabis legalization bill, there is an amnesty component which we feel by now it should have been implemented, so at least the police can have some restraint when it comes to burning down a field. We don't want a situation whereby once the cannabis is legalized and then we have no cannabis on island, now we have to look to import. So that would be a very sad state of affairs.
He said an amnesty should be introduced to allow farmers and other affected by the issue to receive compensation and support for their livelihoods.
There must be a level of amnesty and protection for farmers who are currently involved in cannabis, so at least they could see some level of good faith and tolerance on the part of the authorities, and not even that is forthcoming. So we are really concerned about the direction this is going, and we are calling on the minister responsible currently, Honorable Ernest Ile, Minister of Commerce, because cannabis industry or the legalization cannabis industry would be on the commerce.
Alexander said he hoped the issue would be resolved soon, allowing those involved to move beyond the current situation. For 7 TV News, Josiah Bisset reporting.
This is the Hot 7 TV Midday News Edition. There is more after the break.
Looking for the best way to advertise? Stop searching. Hot 7 TV gives you more reach, more impact, and more value. Get your business in front of the right audience and watch your sales soar. Don't miss out. Call 452-6040 today and take advantage of our exclusive advertising packages. Hot 7 TV, smart advertising for smart businesses.
Welcome back. St. Lucia Cruise Port launches the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower Program, promoting greater inclusion for passengers with non-visible disabilities. The initiative is expected to be fully implemented across the island's seaports by the end of September 2026. We get the details in this report.
During a ceremony commemorating the presentation of scholarships by the St. Lucia Cruise Port, officials also announced the launch of the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower Program. The initiative is aimed at improving accessibility while increasing awareness, understanding, and support for individuals living with non-visible disabilities. General Manager of the St. Lucia Cruise Port, Lancelot Arnold, said the initiative is designed to facilitate all passengers and visitors under a system where disabilities do not have to be disclosed, but rather recognized.
Hidden Disabilities Program, represented by Sunflower, is one where we seek to facilitate all of passengers or visitors through our cruise port. As was mentioned by our marketing and communications manager, it's one where we try to make it inclusive, so persons don't have to publicly announce their disability, but rather we will recognize them.
He outlined that the program will begin with the training of individuals working within the country's seaports, providing guidance on how to recognize and treat those needing assistance.
What we will be doing is conducting numerous training programs with the persons who interact with guests at the port, be it Castries, any seaport within St. Lucia. And in those training programs, those persons will be told and shown how to interact with persons. What does a Hidden Disabilities Program entail? So that, somebody may just need additional assistance. Somebody just needs to be a little more patient with someone.
Arnold also cited further plans for expansion of the project beyond just the island seaports.
What we're trying to do is not keep it at the seaports, but also introduce it through SLASPA into the airports, into the government buildings. So someone with a hidden disability who maybe even coming to visit an office or government office would, because of them wearing a pin, they would know that they would expect that somebody can assist them, maybe travel in an elevator with them because they're unable to travel in that elevator by themselves.
Arnold said the specific rollout of the sunflower identification pins is still being finalized, with full implementation of the program expected by the end of September 2026. The Hidden Disabilities Sunflower Program is internationally recognized, and the St. Lucia Cruise Port says the initiative represents another step towards creating a more accessible and inclusive experience for all passengers and visitors. For Hot 7 TV News, I am Ethne Brown reporting.
For many people in St. Lucia, financial comfort means more than simply covering the essentials. It means paying every bill on time, keeping food in the fridge, meeting everyday expenses, and still having enough money left to enjoy life. But as the cost of living continues to rise and salaries struggle to keep pace, that sense of financial security is becoming increasingly difficult to achieve. Residents share whether their incomes provide genuine comfort or simply allow them to survive from one paycheck to the next.
How much money does it take to live comfortably in St. Lucia? The answer varies from person to person, but for many residents, the reality comes with careful budgeting, tough choices, and growing concerns about the rising cost of everyday life. Covering essentials such as rent, food, transportation, and utilities is becoming more challenging. One St. Lucian living overseas says the island's rising prices are hard to ignore, with everyday expenses making a return home feel like facing an international price tag.
It is very expensive because where I was, you can get a bowl of ripe bananas for £1 and it have almost 8, and then here 3 bananas I think for $2. My dear, I cannot. Honest, it's so expensive because the people themselves, they're the ones making the expense, not the government. It's the people in the country. What I have, I just pinch in it.
But the monthly calculation looks different for those earning and spending their money here in St. Lucia. When asked how much is needed to live comfortably in St. Lucia, one local bus driver says the pressure comes from balancing several major expenses, including bus payments, mortgage commitments, and everyday living costs. After covering these obligations, he says there is often little left to spare.
Roughly 3,000 to 4,000 a month. That's the best for somebody that's working and have family and in your business, you know, things to take care about. But right now, people are getting that in St. Lucia. There were a lot of population not getting even 1.5 a month, and that's unfair.
Other bus drivers say the challenge is similar as rising costs continue to stretch household budget. They lamented that rent takes a major bite out of their income. Food, transportation, electricity, and household bills also compete for the same salary. And unlike elastic, a paycheck can only stretch so far before something has to give.
Well, in St. Lucia, boy, rent is killing everybody. By the time you work, you make money, you don't have nothing in your pocket again. By the time you pay rent, you don't have nothing again. Everything finished. By the time you pay Lucille, pay Rasco, you buy groceries, flow, you pay everything, you have nothing in your pocket. You don't have nothing, and then government does tax you again, so where you buy the road. I mean, groceries, everything expensive. So we need more money than that. I mean, I myself, I am a bus driver. I work in. My salary is 1.15 a month. That's no money for me. Not enough money for me. By the time I pay my rent, I can even buy groceries for my son. It's a good thing alone I have. I don't have others to feed. Unless if I have other train to feed, I finish. You understand? So we need more money than that. Government need to do better than that. We need to increase salaries. They need that.
Maybe about 6-7 grand. House rent is about 1.5. Groceries, you need maybe about $900 for the month.
Comfort, residents say, is not about luxury, but having enough financial room to cover necessities, manage emergencies, and enjoy life without constant worry. The amount needed varies depending on factors such as household size, rent, transportation, and debt. Ultimately, there may be no single salary that guarantees comfort in St. Lucia, but for many, the challenge is simply keeping up with the rising cost of living. I'm Christabel O.B. reporting for Hot 7 TV News.
And for cricket fans heading to CPL this week, there is a chance to do more than watch the game. Cricket fans attending CPL matches in St. Lucia from August 12th to 21st will have the opportunity to do more than cheer on their favorite teams. By leveraging the large crowds drawn by the tournament, CPL is bringing free preventative health screenings directly to the Darren Sammy Cricket Ground, making early detection and basic health checks more accessible to the public. The initiative encourages supporters to take a few minutes to check on their health while enjoying one of the Caribbean's biggest sporting events.
Thousands of people are expected to pass through the cricket ground during CPL, creating a rare opportunity for health officials to reach a large cross-section of the population in one place. The free health screening initiative will offer fans quick and convenient health checks while they are already at the venue. Head of PR and Communications for the Republic Bank Caribbean Premier League, Peter Miller, says the services available will vary depending on the health authorities on site each match day. Planned screenings include blood pressure and body mass index checks, while prostate-specific antigen testing for prostate health will also be available.
The CPL is one of those times when we're going to have 7,500, 8,000, 10,000 people all in the one place. And it means that they're there and it's super easy for them to do it. And the other thing we want to do is we want to take away the stigma involved in this, right? We all need to realise that going to the doctors is something that we just need to do. It's very simple for us to go and get these tests done. None of them are particularly complicated. Basically look at as many different things that are non-invasive that you're able to do as possible. So it could be a blood sugar test, etc., etc. So what we're trying to do is provide people with an opportunity in a place where people are gathering to give them the opportunity to go and do these quick couple of second tests that have two benefits to you, which is either A, it sets your mind at rest that you don't need to worry about that particular thing, and B, if there is a problem, we can signpost it for you, and all of the medical advice that we'll have is that testing and early prevention is so much better than not knowing and moving things to the point where something's progressed a lot further down the line.
For fans, there will be no appointment process and no additional cost. Miller says anyone interested can simply approach the screening area at the ground and request a test. The approach is intended to remove some of the barriers that may keep people from getting routine checks. CPL is particularly hoping to reach people who may continuously postpone a visit to a doctor because they feel well or are uncomfortable with medical testing.
Absolutely free, no cost to anybody. It's being provided in conjunction with a number of NGOs and health authorities across the Caribbean. So that's the plan, is to basically just to make it as easy as possible. So the Caribbean has, the same as the rest of the world, but particularly here in the Caribbean, there's a big issue with non-communicable diseases and that having an impact for the health of all of us across the region. So what we want to be able to do is do what we can as a corporate entity that has people gathered together to try and get as many people to have these non-invasive and very straightforward tests as possible.
This initiative also highlights the importance of prevention as Caribbean countries continue to face high rates of non-communicable diseases. Miller says it is especially important to reach men who may delay routine health checks, including prostate screening. Health professionals will also be on site to advise anyone with concerning results and refer them for follow-up care.
Your prostate cancer test, which nowadays is just a blood test, it's super simple. It's a huge issue across the world, but especially in the Caribbean. So those guys out there that aren't going and getting that tested, and guys about my age, I'm in my late 40s, it's about going and getting that test done, finding out whether or not it's something you need to worry about. But it's not invasive, it's not difficult, it's not hard for you to do. So the reason we want to do it is because people are there, they're relaxed, they're having fun, but here's an opportunity for you to go and spend 5 minutes of your day and then not have to worry about it again. It's not a case of we're doing this and being like, oh, here's something that people are worried about, be worried. The plan then is for the health authorities to say to people, yeah, great, not great, but you've got this result, we're slightly worried. Let's go and get further follow-up care, and they'll point you in the direction of where you need to be pointed to go and get that done.
In St. Lucia, free health screenings will be available alongside CPL matches at the Darren Sammy Cricket Ground on Wednesday, August 12th, Friday, August 14th, Sunday, August 16th, Wednesday, August 19th, and Friday, August 21st. While the specific screenings may vary from one match day to another, the goal remains the same: to use one of the region's biggest sporting events to make preventive health checks more accessible and help identify potential health concerns early. I'm Christabel Obi reporting for Hot 7 TV News.
We've come to the end of the Midday News edition for today, Monday, August 10th, 2026. Join us again at 6:45 for the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Until then, have a blessed and productive day.
From your desk to your lunch table, whether you're on the job or taking a well-deserved break, get the top stories and breaking news all in one place. Join us Monday to Friday at 12 p.m. for Hot 7 Midday News, bringing you the latest headlines from St. Lucia and around the region. Stay connected, stay informed, only on Hot 7 TV.